Good afternoon, it's Mayor Turner. I was just wanting to bring everyone up to date on the most current information and talk about the mask ordinance on what is proposed so you will know. I'll start with the numbers. Amarillo is at 3,729. Lubbock is at 1,665. Abilene's at 922. San Angelo is 219. Wichita Falls is at 250. And Midland, I didn't get a number, but I will get that and put it out on Facebook. And currently we are at 734 cases. We have had another death. Another death happened at ORMC. So I want to talk a little bit about what we're seeing with our numbers. Back June 11th, you can look on my Facebook Live, we were at 258 cases. Within a week, we gained 175 cases. During this last week, from Thursday to Thursday, we gained 300 cases. We are seeing a huge surge in Odessa. Some people say, well, it's because we're testing more. Part of that's true, but part of it is just because all these people are positive. I wished it wasn't going up, but I'll be brutally honest with you. My biggest fear is not coronavirus. My biggest fear is this town being closed down. The governor today came out and said he is backing up the state. I don't know if you saw it, but all of the bars will be closed. The bars have been responsible for a lot of people getting sick. A lot of people from 20 to 29 are getting ill because they're going into the bars and getting sick. The governor had released TABC to go out and make sure the bars were doing their job as far as social distancing, things like that. And in many cities they weren't. And the governor released TABC to go ahead and start pulling liquor license. A bar in Lubbock had their liquor license pulled. I know some in many of other cities have had their liquor license pulled, and their liquor license is gone for 30 days. If they have a second instance where they're not following the rules, they will lose their license for 60 days, which is a huge economic impact to these bars. But the governor has closed the bars. The governor has restricted the amount that can go in restaurants. We were at 75%. Now we're back at 50%. So that will affect bars. He has closed the commercial rafting and tubing services down on rivers such as Llano or some of the others. And he has restricted any gathering of over 100 people unless it is approved through the local governing entity, which is myself for the city or the judge for the county. In my opinion, the worst thing we can do right now is close down. Odessa is hurting. We had the oil price drop, which luckily has come back up. We also had COVID, which impacted our community. And we have currently 16% unemployment. Closing the city would be detrimental to Odessa and to Midland. And the last thing we need to do is close the city down. That is one of the reasons we started looking at a mask ordinance. A lot of people say masks don't help, masks do help. You can find articles that say either way. What I do is I follow the CDC. I've got two articles. One was April 3rd is when it was published. The Mayo Clinic has also published one. And both of them say that they help. Are they perfect? No, they're not. But we have a lot of people who are getting tested at Singular Care and some of these other places that say if it's positive, it's positive. We've talked about this in other videos. But if it's negative, 1 out of every 5 is actually positive. So that is a test that is good to know if you're negative, but it's not necessarily as good to know if you're, it's good if you're positive, it will tell you, but it will give you an error on the negative, which is something is of a concern. we just had a press conference, and I just want to give you some of the information that was put out there. CPL is the local lab that has been doing all of the testing for the hospitals and for the city clinics when we do the testing and things. CPL is overwhelmed. The problem is now they are saying we are not going to take any tests for 10 days because they have to catch up. They have been overrun with the amount of tests that are being done. Right now, hospitals and everyone is looking for an alternate place to get the test done. The big fear is right now is if you get a test, it might take over 10 days to get it back, which is unacceptable. So they were going to look at what the hospitals can do and to be able to get the test read in a reasonable amount of time. I want everyone, if you would please, go to the Ector County Health Department Facebook page and like that page. That will give you the current numbers that are going on. Right now, in the hospitals, we have 23 at Medical Center with 481 tests pending, which means we're waiting for them to be to get the results back. ORMC is at 9, and they have 180 tests pending. So that's about 660 tests that have not been read that need to be read. Are we going to continue to go up? Yes, we are. Everything I'm hearing says we are going to continue to climb. One of the things that I'm really concerned about, I'll be honest with you, is the state coming in. The state has moved into, we've talked about it before, Abilene came into El Paso. I've heard rumors that they have gone into Lubbock because of the numbers that have gone up. So that is one of my big concerns. And we'll talk a little bit about the mask ordinance here in a minute. But CPL is also limited what they call the non-critical test. So if it's not a critical test, if it's just you go down and get a test, unless you're symptomatic and things like that, they are saying that you probably will not get your test results back for a little while because of what they're going to do as far as closing down. Now COVID is in 4 of our nursing homes. The Endearing, they have 1. Parks, they have 1. Sienna has 4, but they have 6 that are symptomatic. And the nursing home that's here and in Crane, Focus Care, has 18 currently in Odessa. The reason that is bad is because those people are typically the ones you see that have significant problems with coronavirus. So our thoughts and prayers are with them as they go through it, especially the families, because odds are they won't be able to see them if they're in the hospital because of the restrictions, on the people going in there. One of the things that I was told the other day that really struck me, and I'm going to tell y'all, the safest places in the city right now are the hospitals. The hospitals have had very few cases, I think 1 case, where some staff member caught COVID in the hospital. But the problem the hospitals are having now is when their employees go out into the community, they are coming up positive. And it's very concerning when nurses, because we do not have enough nurses to open up the hospital to full capacity. We've all known that nurses have been short-staffed, and that is a huge problem. It's been a huge problem in our entire nation. It's especially out here at West Texas. They do have enough to handle the surge, which we are getting into, but at some point it really begins to be a problem. One of the problems also we're having is COVID around us. Alpine is having a lot of problems. We have the prison in Fort Stockton is having a lot of problems, and many of those cases come here. If they are critical enough, they end up coming to Medical Center or to ORMC, which takes up our beds for the citizens of Odessa. Right now we have 2 from Alpine, 1 from Ward County, 1 from Reeves, and 1 from Crane Focus Care, which are taking up beds. We are a regional hospital. We've always been a regional hospital. We serve, I believe it's 17 counties, because many of those do not have the facilities they need for at the hospitals to be able to handle patients that get as critical. As far as respirators, we are in in a good place right now. We do have a few on respirators, but that is something that we want to see go down. But I want to talk a little bit about what the governor did. Any outdoor gathering in excess of 100 people has to be approved by the local entity. Dine-in restaurants are down now to 50%. Talking about all the bars are now closed, and the commercial rafting, we talked a little bit about that. If you want to look at this, you can go to opentexas.com, and you can have the full thing. You can read it as we move forward. I want to talk a little bit about the mask ordinance. I appreciate the information people are sending me, both pro and against. The threats, I'll be honest with you, when people threaten me, it doesn't do any good. It's just the way I am. If you want to talk, send me an article. I'll be happy to read that article. You can send it to me on Facebook. You can email it to me through the website of the city, and I'll be happy to read it. What this does is it is very similar to the one Lubbock is currently looking at, and it is all businesses shall, and it includes offices and departments of the city of Odessa, must require employees, including volunteers, to have face covers either in the area or performing an activity which involves close contact. If you're working in an office, you can sit there and you don't need a mask. If somebody comes into your office and within 6 feet of you, that's when you'd be required to have a mask. Also, customers going into places will have to wear a mask. Now, if you're outside working, exercising at a park, if you're outside doing yard work, if you're in your car, any of that kind of stuff, you don't have to have a mask. So those that say, I'm not going to wear a mask, that's fine. Don't go to a store. The problem we have right now is simply we have to slow this curve. If we do not, some things are going to happen which I think will be very difficult on our community. Talked to the superintendent. He's doing a great job. He has a hard job in front of him opening the schools. There was supposed to be a phone call between the Secretary of Education and all of the superintendents in the state. That call was canceled when we had the over 5,000 new cases on the state level. So ECISD is very concerned about the rise in cases. They had a second semester summer school, which they were going to allow kids to come in, social distance, wear masks, things like that. That has been canceled. And the reason that was canceled is because of the numbers in Ector County. It's not based on what's going on in another county. It is simply based on what's going on here. So the reason we're proposing this is simply we either slow this curve or people wear masks. If your kids go to school, odds are they're going to be required to wear a mask. The teachers are going to be required to wear PPEs. But if the numbers keep going where they are going, that could be put into danger as far as opening the schools. Because if we're seeing that huge spike, like 300 this last week, it makes them reevaluate their plan. UTPB and Odessa College are the same way. They are concerned about this. As far as the numbers we're seeing, honestly, we see probably 10% of the people out there wearing masks. That's their choice. But, we have people saying masks don't work. We have people saying, using the size of particles and things like that. But if you look at it logically and you say, if I'm wearing a mask, does it make it safer if I've got it and I cough for those particles to be caught on the mask? A few may get out if you're not using an N95, but it's better than not. People have, really been upset talking about it one way or the other. But like I said, send me your comments, send me the things. The threats are ridiculous, and I will be happy to look at those. What we're going to do is at 10 o'clock at Floyd Gwynn Park in the PAL gym, which is a gym roughly on the corner of 8th and West County, we will have a council meeting on Monday. We will have many people speaking. The hospitals are going to speak. Superintendent is going to be out of town, but he is sending someone to speak. And we will let some other people speak. We will also allow people to come in and express their opinions. We usually, on things like that, we limit them to 3 minutes. So if you want to speak, you're welcome to speak. Make sure it's concise and within 3 minutes. So that is what we're going to do. We're going to allow council to talk about it, and council will vote on it. If you're concerned, you can contact your council member. You can also send me an email, or a lot of people are using Facebook. But that's certainly going to be an interesting time. I've been in contact with the mayors in West Texas. I got a phone call yesterday from one mayor in Abilene, and Mayor Williams said, "What in the world's going on with your numbers?" Which is kind of ironic because he's the one that had a lot of problems before and is doing a good job of getting theirs down. But most cities are looking at this. It's got its pros and its cons. But we have to ask ourselves is, what happens if we don't? I understand it's a political year and everything is politically charged one way or the other. But we have to decide, if we don't, are we going to accept the results if the kids can't go back to school, if the colleges can't go into session and it's all online? We need people to be able to get out, because that's how we're going to keep this economy moving. People need jobs, and many of the businesses are still hiring. If you're looking for a job, we need what they call basically the tracers. The people that if you say, "I've been tested positive," you test positive, the health department gets your name and they start asking who you were with and things like this. So they're still looking for tracers. I believe you can go to their website. They've hired 6. They're going to hire 12 because I'll be honest with you, they're overrun. They cannot trace everyone that is sick. So if you're looking for a job, it's a job. So let me look over the notes one more time. If you've been going to the state's website is wrong when it comes to our numbers. We've talked a little bit about the proposed or probables and the confirmed. They're both on there. The state has not been putting in the correct numbers. So that is something that they're working on right now and going from there. I'm here. If you need to Facebook me or Messenger, yeah, that's what it is. Send me the questions. Send me anything that you have questions about, and I will be happy to do the best to answer them. People are asking, where do I look for that job? Go to Ector County website, and I believe it will be listed there. They just hired 6, and they're wanting to hire fairly quickly. So just wanted to give you an update, let you know kind of what we're thinking. The meeting will be at 10 o'clock at the PAL gym. It's basically 9th and West County in that area. So thank you very much. Please, everyone, be careful. Be safe when you're out. If you don't need to get out, please stay home. And make sure you're wearing your mask. Make sure you are washing your hands. Don't touch your face. And we will get through this. We will be fine. It's not going to be easy for right now. Now to the fall, we're probably going to be dealing with COVID. But we can do this, and it is a pleasure. God bless each and every one of you, and have a wonderful weekend. Thank you.